Hello.
Hey guys, we're on right now.
Tracy,
Welcome
hi,
to
Tracy.
the Mandalorian
Hey, Jonathan.
feed going on right now. I guess I want to say live cantina, virtual cantina, and we're here along with first and foremost, he's known as Gecko, Mr. Dominic Pace. Dominic, how are you?
I'm doing great. Hello to the entire Star Wars fan base. Just a shout out before we get started, just to all the peaceful protesters involved in the Black Lives Matter movement, along with all the great police officers, those involved in law enforcement who stand with us in defeating corruption. And hopefully there'll be a lot of police reform as the years go on. But just want to let everybody know we're thinking about the obviously sensitive situation that's going on in our country right now, and our hearts with everybody, and all my love to the Star Wars community there.
Thank you very much, Dom. Yeah, we echo everything you say, and we support John Boyega and everything he's been saying as well, along with our brothers and sisters in the Star Wars community. And also, welcome to the virtual cantina. He's many characters throughout The Mandalorian, but he was also 3PO in Lego Masters. Let's give it up to Chris Bartlett. Chris, how are you?
Hello. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having us for this. Something that's what I've always loved about Star Wars is it's an escape, right? It is something that we can go away in our imaginations and escape some of the hard stuff of the world. But as Dom said, that this is something that's very touches the hearts of a lot of people, a lot of us. I mean, all of us. Hopefully, we feel that we love everybody. Everybody is as important as everybody else. And I think that's one of the messages of Star Wars as well, is that one of inclusion. And that's something we should always remember.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So usual format for our members right now, we have 57 people watching right now, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you all for coming to this. Right before we're going to have 3 raffles tonight for figures that have been donated by Rich Herman, our great member. So thank you very much, Rich. But if you have questions for Dom or for Chris throughout, put it into the chat, and one of us will pick up on it and ask the questions. We are going to be, it's pretty much going to be the Chris and Dom show, telling us stories about the first episode of Mandalorian. So we're pretty excited about that. I'm going to start with Chris. Chris, what was it like when you first found out that you were going to be involved in the new Star Wars TV show?
Exactly how you would imagine. It was extremely exciting. The first inkling that I had was that they had asked me to come to do a fitting for Q90, and so when I found out it was a droid bounty hunter, of course, I've done C-3PO, and I've also, as a fan, done Boba Fett. So I thought, what 2 amazing characters you could put together. And then as I went down for the fitting, and I got to see the incredible artwork and design by Brian Mattias, I was just so incredibly excited. And then I went away from that fitting and didn't hear anything. And then I got a call from production, said, "We want to bring you in for the Ferryman." And I was like, "Oh, the Ferryman, is this Star Wars?" She said, "Yeah." And I'm like, in my mind, like you would imagine the Ferryman, he's maybe a forest creature with, furry hooved, legs and maybe pointy ears and a flute. And I said, "Can you tell me a little bit more about this character?" And she said, "Well, he plays a flute." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So he's like in the Ewok forest or something. I'm playing, but then when I got the email and realized it was the ferryman, who in mythology, the ferryman guides the dead across the river to the afterlife, I thought, wow, this is really going to be cool. And so my first day of shooting is what you'll see here in episode 1, up on the frozen pier. And then they also said, oh yeah, I was like, "Well, what about the droid?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, you got that one too." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, wow." I mean, just as you imagine, just like you would imagine getting that call. I had the same exact feeling. So exciting and a dream come true.
Awesome. How about for you, Dom? What was it like for you? I know you've been a lifelong fan yourself.
It was mixed emotions just because, I mean, I've had an extensive career with guest stars and co-stars, but I was just brought on for a makeup test. Obviously, beyond words, just a lifelong fan, but also just on kind of pins and needles in the first week, just worried in terms of whether, you would be featured or not. But Brian Sipe, who's one of the heads of Legacy Effects, did such an extensive job with the makeup. I can't thank him enough for kind of making Gecko sort of unique, along with the costume designer, Stephen A. Porro, and just a lot of thanks to Deborah Chow. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to have gotten a little, the screen time that I did had they not extended me to the third episode. So I owe so much to Deborah and to John. But just to touch on one point, well, a few things for the Star Wars fans who haven't heard this story yet. To be able to pick out my own blaster as a Star Wars fan, my own bounty hunter blaster on day one, with George Lucas there, with Jon Favreau on John's birthday, and the fact that we're in a cantina. Chris and I, we actually didn't know each other at the time, but the fact that we're in a cantina, that was my first play set. So it was just, it was a lot of emotions all in one day, and the 10-day experience was just obviously beyond words there.
That's awesome. That's absolutely fantastic. We already got one question. The first question is to Dom. So why don't we're going to stick to episode 1 for right now. What was your favorite moment shooting Mandalorian? Let's stay with episode 1 first.
Well, I think Chris would agree. There's something very magical when we sort of, as actors, we get tunnel vision. And over time, it's almost like the Matrix, where the universe, the world, the real world starts leaving us, and we start getting tunnel vision. When the cameras are to your back, there's I was at the bar for quite some time, and you're interacting with people like Chris or, other bounty hunters. It was just the most amazing experience you can imagine as a Star Wars fan, because you weren't seeing the camera. And not to jump into episode 3, but Boba was one of my favorite figures. So when I got that tunnel vision and I'm staring him down with my blaster, and the whole world is going away, and you're just seeing the creatures around you, and then also the legendary Carl Weathers, voice right here. It gives you goosebumps. I felt like Rudy Rudiger, where, the stunt guy, the stunt coordinator, was coming over to me. He was like, hey, take it easy on this or that. And I was like, I've been waiting for this my whole life, So it was just amazing. But the most magical feelings were when the camera was to your back, because any Star Wars fan could imagine that you're having a 360 kind of feel of being in the universe. And with your imagination as an actor, you're able to go there. So I just wish I could could have brought every Star Wars fan into my heart and soul, and it felt that level of realism in the Star Wars universe just for a few moments. It was just beyond words.
How about you, Chris? What was your favorite moment working on episode 1?
On episode 1, I would say the favorite moment was that very first moment, because I was 7 years old in 1977 when I watched Star Wars for the first time in the theater, and ever since then, growing up with cardboard box, cockpits and stuff like that, and pretending in the backyard of the figures and stuff. That moment where you step onto that frozen, icy pier, and the wind's blowing, it's all practical. You're seeing in the volume 360 almost degrees of this vast ice wasteland, and it looks so real. And then, I knew that this was the Mandalorian, and I'm seeing for the first time the Mandalorian up on the pier, doing his thing. He's with his tracker. It felt like it all went into super slow motion as I stepped up on that pier, because the flashing back to when you're a kid, all of that and all the imagination that George's universe built up in me, until I got to this point, just like Dominic was saying, you wish you could share it with every single Star Wars fan, because it is really a magical, moment. But that was it, is stepping up there. And now I've stepped out of my imagination into actual Star Wars. And so that was really special.
That's fantastic. Any question from you, Frank?
Starting with Dom, you have very quickly embraced the autograph collecting part of Star Wars fandom and really been able to get your autograph out to fans. What's that experience been like for you?
Absolutely amazing. I mean, it's a credit to George and to Dave and to John and Deborah Chow and Kathleen Kennedy, the fact that side characters have relevance in this universe. I've been doing co-stars and guest stars for the last 20 years on television, and just the fact that people respect, the fact that even, when you had a Han Solo, you had a Walrus Man. When you had a Princess Leia, you had a Hammerhead. So I just can't say thank you enough. And as a matter of fact, I mean, not to get into just money, it's been very difficult. I'm sure Chris will agree that the entire business has been shut down. And I just can't tell you how grateful I've been to the fan base for buying an autograph or two. But the other thing is just also the involvement and how proud I am to be a part of the 501st, the Mandalorian Mercs. They do so much outreach for these charitable organizations within their community. And I think just the love of Star Wars, it goes beyond the screen to where these community members, it's not only about our love of fandom within the Star Wars universe, it's about helping others. So I can't do enough for the fan base, and I'm forever grateful and forever humble to Dave and George. To Dave and John for this opportunity there.
How about you, Chris? Have you been involved with autograph signing? I haven't seen this as much, but I know, have you been doing some?
Right. We were, as Dominic was too, we were headed to the conventions. And so we were kind of holding back for that, to be able to interact with fans in person and to be able to do those. But I will be announcing a signing day that we'll be doing, where fans can send their, if they have something they want to be signed and details and stuff. I'll be announcing that on my Instagram at Chris F. Bartlett. So we'll have more details there. But yeah, that is coming. Again, like I said, we were just waiting for the conventions but I think we're going to move ahead with a signing day.
That's going to be absolutely great. And I know that both of you, as of right now, are set up for Rhode Island Comic Con, which is in Frank and my backyard. So we're excited for that. So we're going to start off to our members. We're going to do our first raffle for the night. Just to hear the rules is that one of the admins is going to ask a question into the chat board. Into the camera, and then the first person to answer the chat with the answer will win a figure prize pack courtesy of Rich Herman. We're going to do 3 tonight since we only got through 1 last week. But after, I will take note of who wins, and I will shoot you off a message for your address, and I will get you'll give me your I'll give you my PayPal information, because the figures are on us, but you pay for shipping to you. So without further ado, why don't we go with the first question, which actually is coming from Frank.
All right. Everybody ready? First question is, where were Luke and Leia born?
So the first question is, where were Luke and Leia born? The only person who cannot answer is Dennis, because you won last time, Dennis.
He was already typing it out, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
That's a good question. I
actually had to look that up myself. I had to look that up myself.
Has anyone answered yet?
We're going to give it to Jennifer.
Did Jennifer win? I had Jennifer won. Jennifer Bergen. Congratulations. The answer is Polis Massis. Congratulations.
Wow. That was a tough one.
That is absolutely tough one. I actually had to look that one up. That's absolutely fantastic. Jennifer, I will message you later on tonight for your information. Congratulations. You won the first figure prize pack. We will be doing a second one after episode 1, before we do gallery, and one right after gallery as well. So congratulations, Jennifer. Very happy for you. Congratulations. And we're at the 6-minute mark right now. So let's go with a question actually from the group. We had one from Dennis. For both Dom and for Chris, we'll start with Chris on this one. What was the hardest thing that you had to do on the show?
Contain my excitement.
Nice.
No joke, because as Dominic knows, you are there to tell a story and push the story forward with your characters. You have a job to do, and the hardest, the most challenging part was to contain my excitement. The way that Werner Herzog, I ran into him while we were working, and I was excited. I've done Star Wars for 14 years for Lucasfilm, but this is the first time on this very special show. And Werner and I were standing there, and I said, "Isn't this exciting?" And he goes, "This is serious." It's serious work. We are building characters, breathing life into these characters. We have a responsibility, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was. That was what I was thinking. I was just trying to relate to him a little bit, because this is an incredible director, writer, and actor with so many, with decades of incredible work. But in that moment, it was like a masterclass of, what are we doing here? We have a real big responsibility to Star Wars fans to, tell this brand new story and make it feel familiar. And you better not screw it up, Chris.
Awesome. That's a fantastic story. Dom, same question. What was the hardest thing that you did on the show?
Our hours were long, and I had 2 hours of makeup in the morning, but I have to match Chris's answer, because there was a time when I had the screen test in front of Deborah and Dave and John. They broke us for lunch because they were busy doing a scene from Werner Herzog's Lair with the volume. And I'm going around the corner of that soundstage, and just kind of tucked in the corner, again, one of my first childhood toys was a life-size land speeder. So the people that are operating this volume, it's like 2 rows. It looks like MIT grads. And it was one of those things I think I would have let out. I always compare it to Tom Hanks' scene in Big with John Lovitz, where he gets $167 and he's freaking out, and everybody around him just like, yeah, just another day on the job. So I come around and I see this land speeder, and as like a Star Wars fan, you're like, I think I let out like a little yelp, and all of these all these guys that are operating this amazing piece of technology kind of look up for a second, and I was like, God, I hope I didn't just get kicked off. But it was just so hard to geek out on a few instances where normally, Chris and I, we're professionals for, X amount of years. It just was a whole different situation, because obviously it's our beloved franchise there, and you're creating magic there. So yeah, I think it was just a matter of sort of staying focused, and especially when you felt the camera during the standoff and things like that, it was a moment of almost getting overly excited, because obviously the adrenaline from being part of the franchise was beyond words there.
Yeah,
absolutely. So we got about 2 minutes before we start. We'll do a quick question. Actually, this is actually a great question from John Barbie. For both you guys. We'll start with Dom. What was the coolest Dave Filoni knowledge you heard him drop during the filming?
It wasn't the coolest. The cool thing about Dave was his demeanor. You're talking about $100+ million budget, and I come from the late '90s, early 2000s, where say James Cameron or Michael Bay are screaming and yelling, and there's frantic sort of an energy. Dave was as cool as the other side of the pillow. Everything you see in interviews, that's how he was. So this is, I believe this was his directorial debut with a live action, and the thing that popped out to me the most was just how cool, calm, and collected him and John and Deborah were. It was laser focused, but at the same time, you could feel like they were our friends from childhood, just having fun, creating this amazing magic, which we all had the chance to see through those 8 episodes there. So it was just really his demeanor, which I never saw in a director in regards to just being in control, calm, cool, and just liked by everyone.
What about for you, Chris?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. What was the coolest thing about or the coolest knowledge that you got from Dave Filoni while working with him?
It was from Dave Filoni specifically.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Or any.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say Jon Favreau, because in between shots, sometimes John would come over and talk with me and Brendan, who we know is the body and gunfighter of the Mandalorian, and he said he was just talking about what it was like to what a director wants in an actor, and that was, he wants you to be there on time. We want you to be there on set, be excited about what you're doing, and to bring ideas. And I was just like, I mean, what more could I ask for? This is so cool that Jon Favreau is, one, hanging out with us, but also that he was talking to us about what a director, because he's a director and an actor,
Right.
So I just loved that. But yeah, there's tons of stuff from Dave Filoni. Most of it you're going to see in the gallery show. And he's already said, stuff about, being a person in a costume versus an actor. That was really something cool too, that he talked about in, I think it was a couple episodes ago. But anyway, I would say that.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we're at that time, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to start the 10-second countdown. So have your Disney Plus ready, because you can't watch it on Blu-ray or Betamax or anything like the other movies.
Betamax.
So, well, some people can watch it, but the original trilogy on Betamax.
Laser.
So
yeah.
We're going to start off with the 10-second countdown in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. And if you have questions for Dom or Chris, put it in the chat. But really, this is going to be the Dom and Chris show. So tell us everything that you're able to tell us.
Love the new reimagined logo they have.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have taken one of those tracking fobs as a souvenir there. It's like the perfect, perfect Star Wars collectible, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Did you guys were you able to get anything from? I know it's not typical, but were you able to take anything?
Yep. I took something.
I had the Shawshank Redemption thing with it, because we technically aren't allowed to take anything, but the dirt at Navarro was black, so every day there would be black dirt that would go into my boot as we had the standoff in the fight, and so every now and then I would grab a little handful of that borrowed dirt and keep it. But other than that, no, I just out of respect to Disney, unless sometimes the makeup guy will say, hey, don't worry about this or that, but I wasn't given any permission in regards to that. But these the fans have just been amazing in terms of recreating the props and my gauntlet and my my rifle, my blaster. So I've just been grateful to the Star Wars base for being able to have me have a little piece of the relics there from the experience.
I just wanted to say something about this scene. Is Tate Fletcher here, this big guy with the beard, also plays the heavy Mandalorian in episode 3.
Yeah. If you look up Tate's IMDb, he's done every stunt you can imagine. I think he's got some UFC experience, and just one of the greatest guys you can imagine. He's had a lot of movements, and really great guy there.
Super sweet in person too.
Yeah.
I picked him out of the crowd watching the new Jumanji the other night, and I started laughing.
Oh, you see, John Wick and Westworld. You name it, you'll see him around, and then even the new that new Waco, Texas show on Netflix there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a show together called John Claude Van Johnson on Amazon. We did stunts on that, and yeah, he's something though. Amazing guy, really cool guy. I love how they picked a lot of comedians for the guest stars there. You know, I mean, you noticed that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, these fobs are just absolutely incredible. The fact that it's basically like having something on your iPhone or anything of that nature. Trying to find somebody. It's
right.
Is that the guy? That's just so cool.
Chris, in a gallery, they've said that pretty much the way to tell which one is Brandon and which one is Lateef is Lateef does more of the hand-to-hand fighting and Brandon is doing the gunslinging. Is
right.
that pretty? So, like, just what we just saw, would that have been Lateef?
Right. He did all the all the fighting, and any of the gun drawing or anything was Brendan. Yeah, grandson of John Wayne.
I was gonna say, is it not a coincidence that he is John Wayne's grandson and he has that?
Right. That's a cool connection.
Yeah.
Sidebar: there's the ferryman.
Yes. Yeah, so it was very, very difficult to be able to fit that flute into the snout without being able to see it. So right here, we hear the Kubaz voice from A New Hope, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Which coincidentally is a John Wayne, a tweaked John Wayne line that's what Ben Burt used on the original Star Wars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's right.
Also, that was a practical speeder, as Dominic said, and Brian Posehn pulls up in it, and it was huge, and it was so cool to see it in real life right there in front of you.
Yeah, you got two comedians in this episode. Also, Horatio Sanz, amazing talent from SNL.
Right, that's right.
Yeah.
And again, just a credit to Legacy Effects and Brian Sipe and everybody. I mean, the makeup job. When we were doing the Cantina and also Navarro, they had 20 creatures. They had to prep from 5:30 to 7:30. I mean, just the amount of work they have to do, but also just the attention to detail is just beyond words. I mean, you're talking about side characters where any other show would just kind of throw you together, and they just put so much detail to everyone, as you can see.
Right. Look at that ship. So cool.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think speaking as a fan, of course, we're all thinking initially that we're going to see something similar to Slave One,
right?
But the Razor Crest is just next world.
Yeah.
The Razor Crest. There's a ship, the same style of ship as in one of the Clone Wars episodes. It's I don't know if it's the same ship, but it is the exact same type. You get to see it directly from the front. And it's just at the end of one of the episodes, but it's there.
I think that's
cool.
called Pirates. I've seen it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'll have to look for that.
It's so cool how Dave interweaves the storylines, and I'm sure in season 2, I'm sure there'll be a little bit more of that there as well.
Well, what they're supposedly leaking of, characters it's going to be overwhelming. I think it's going to be, but fun.
Yeah. If those leaks, if they're true, absolutely. Yeah.
The music for this show is just, when I was just watching gallery and hearing the music again after a few months of not, I couldn't wait for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And just the music itself, let alone the story and all the visual things, the music is so just intriguing.
Right.
They did a great job with that.
Yeah, and if you think about it, I mean, that's a pretty bold move, because even in Rogue One, it was sort of triumphant in certain ways that still wasn't John Williams, but it matched that. But the fact that they kind of turned it on its ear and it worked, really, I think, says a lot about Dave and their entire team there,
We got to toss a hat off to the maestro himself, John Williams, for setting the bar so high.
Yeah. I mean, Star Wars would be a whole different thing in the 70s if he didn't.
Yeah.
Trivia question. Do you know the name of the composer on Mandalorian?
No.
I do. but let's see if anybody in the group does.
I don't remember. Somebody knows.
I actually sent something to get our the sheet music from the theme sent to his office a couple weeks ago.
Well,
But
we're
does
waiting for
anybody-
somebody to answer that. Chris or Dom, did you watch the holiday special?
Oh yes, you kidding?
So you knew that the rifle was right out of that show?
That's right. That's right.
Oh yes. Oh, you mean in the cartoon segment? Absolutely. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny being right next to that and also Tate, the big gunner, when we had the standoff and just saying, God, how many figures and how many, kids are going to play with this, this rifle, and also the big gunner as an action figure there when I was standing right next to them there.
That's one of the big difference between talking to actors who are in either the sequel trilogy or like this show or the animation is when you talk to the actors that were in the original trilogy or prequel trilogy even, they couldn't be fans because they were making it. They didn't grow up with it like you guys. Like
right.
Sidebar, first bathroom in Star Wars.
That's right. The first space toilet.
Yeah. I love that compartment down there with the, the carbonation and all that. I thought it was pretty cool.
And Catherine Cook got Ludwig Göransson.
Nice.
Very good, very good. But yeah, the fact that they now use carbonite as a way of capturing criminals.
Yeah.
Oh, and he mentions Life Day.
And it's so cool.
This is 5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, look at this. Look at the characters frozen. It looks like a Rhodian, a female character. Okay, who does this guy look like? Does that bearded guy look like anyone that you know?
I'm a couple seconds behind you guys. He's
Huh?
not frozen.
George Lucas?
I mean, I'm not saying I know anything. I'm just saying, as a fan watching this, I'm like, are they trying to say is George there? I don't know. I just thought it was funny.
Yes.
Oh, all right. Oh, there was so much debate and talk about the carbonite technology being on this ship. It was like, it's perfect. Of course, they're going to miniaturize it, and the word's gonna get out from Boba Fett through Jabba the Hutt, and everybody's seeing Han up there on the wall. Of course,
Right.
that's going to,
And it's so great that it takes place 5 years after the original trilogy, because now he can pull from the old, the OG, and then also the sequel trilogy as well, for storyline. So, possibilities are endless there.
Right.
So what was it like working with the great Apollo Creed?
I mean, personally, the time that I was on set with him, it really was very similar to Denzel, to where, he's friendly, but it's also about all business, which, again, when you're carrying that kind of budget on your shoulders, that's how it should be. There was a little bit of downtime during Navarro. We had a chance to shoot the breeze about LA traffic and where we live and such. But ultimately, it was just an honor. You're talking about a man. I heard a story years ago about The Last Starfighter. It was Robert Preston who starred in that. And I think that was his last movie, and he was doing 15, 16-hour days. You have to understand. Carl Weathers is, I believe, 70 years old. We're doing 16, sometimes 17-hour days by the time you get home. And this man is bringing it on the 14th and 15th hours. So that in and of itself, just to watch him work and to be, to flank him was just beyond words. But being an Italian-American from New York, Rocky obviously speaks volumes in so many ways, not only to the Italian-American community, African-American community. So it was on two different levels as far as just being in awe of being alongside him, because he's such a legend, such a Hollywood legend.
absolutely.
So Chris, last same question to Dom. Tell us about working in the Cantina scene.
I am in this scene, but you don't see me. There is a shot that shows up in the gallery. But this was the same day of shooting, it feels like, for the episode 3 shootout.
Yeah.
Would you say, Dominic? Was that the same day?
Yeah, they overlapped a little bit because Deborah was there. She thankfully she split off. I mean, she included me, but she made the cut herself personally, and I was just grateful to be a part of it still. But yeah, they kind of overlapped a little bit the episodes there. So Dave was there and Deborah, but again, just a compliment to Deborah, Dave, and John, in that they all just kind of flowed amongst each other, and we're all on the same page, even though they had their productions going within the same day at times. Yes.
Seems very complicated.
Yeah. Working with Carl Weathers, I worked with him closely, like Dominic did, and he is when you hear his booming voice, you know, in the cantina, and you realize, oh my gosh, that's Apollo Creed from my childhood, you know, the Rocky movie, and so many other things. But wow, it was just such a surprise. I had no idea he was on the show until that day when I first, you know, in the cantina when I saw him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we did see Dominic a couple times there in the cantina, and it was. I mean, everything felt so familiar, but yet it felt new. You know, felt very Star Wars universe, but everything, you know, we hadn't seen it. Like there's a gonk droid right there.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Do you feel that going Chris first, and we'll go to Dom, that they definitely did a lot of fan service to bring everybody back into the feeling of the original trilogy?
Yeah, listen, John and Dave.
Wrong with that. They talk about like criticism. It's like we're the fans. I think it's amazing. It's awesome because again, I think the great thing with the side characters is that you know you have more depth to them. Even what Dave does with the Clone Wars, to where it might have been somebody, you know, on screen for a few seconds in the cantina in episode 4, and then he went more into depth into their planet and everything else. I think that's what makes Star Wars magical. But again, I mean, I think you'd be hard pressed to find any other series to where they put so much depth to the side characters, and I think it's so beautiful. And again, I mean, obviously, it was an amazing experience there.
I have to say that one of my favorite in this particular scene's references is that Dr. Pershing has a Camino logo on his sleeve.
Right. Why?
Exactly.
So if you look at the back of that office, or Claire, his office, that was actually the volume. That was the screen, and that was one of the first things I saw during the screen test. It was just absolutely amazing. Like I have perfect vision, and I just could not believe what I was seeing, just in regards to the fact that it just had so much depth, even if you were 20 feet away from it. It was so crystal clear. Chris, what was your experience with that there?
Yeah, exactly. I actually wasn't on filming for this. I didn't realize that was volume back there. I mean, it's you are in it, you're filming in it, you're looking at it, you can know that it's screens, and then you step back and behind the monitor, and now you're watching it on the monitor, and it's all real. It's like it's ready for TV right then. I mean, it was so indistinguishable from reality. It was incredible.
When we get into gallery later on, we get into the technology. It's amazing, just some of the stories that they tell about pushing the landscape, and you know, just Favreau's stories about, you know, from going back to doing the Jungle Book into the Lion King, and you know, when he had the opportunity to push it even further with this, it was just unbelievable.
Yeah. John and Dave are huge Star Wars fans. They are not people who were brought in, you know, to make up this. This is John's idea. He wanted to do the show, and he had written some episodes. So it's a passion, a labor of love for him as well. And so, you know, he grew up with Star Wars just like us as a kid. He knows that there's a blue snaggletooth and a red snaggletooth. He knows that there's, you know, all these, like Dominic said, all these side characters that they have whole life stories of their own. It would be cool to explore those. So it's just such a treat to be and listen to them, you know, and watch what they've created.
How protective?
Hero and Gecko spinoff of Vader commissioning us to go after Luke during the Kenobi series. But, you didn't hear that?
Fantastic.
I love it.
Yes.
Wink, wink, Disney.
So how protective of the franchise was Dave Filoni, considering that he's basically like the chosen one, the heir apparent protege of George Lucas?
Protective? Yeah, go
Well,
ahead.
I'll tell you this. I mean, I didn't know. I was second team more or less, and I just thought it was a baby swaddled. So what was going through my head during the time, I didn't know until somebody texted me after the end of episode 1. They said, "Did you see that?" But I thought it was going to be a backstory for Rey, Finn, or Poe. But I'm happy they did that because there was a little bit of negative backlash Solo in episode 8. So I like the fact that they kept things secret because the fans, let's admit, I mean, there's a little bit of toxic fandom out there. And if any of that got out, especially connected to Disney and, calling it Baby Yoda, etc., I think it could have done a little bit of negative press for the show. So they were very protective, when there's a crew of 200 people. But I think rightfully so, because then as fans, we all get to experience that for the first time, which I think is beautiful,
One thing that they actually said during the Mandalorian panel at Celebration Chicago is Kathleen Kennedy actually said, "You fans have no idea what's coming." So at the end of episode 1, we get to see the child per se. I mean, this show's PG-13. I did scream out, "Holy shit," because that's just, you don't expect that.
I mean, it really, I don't know how
Sorry,
many, props or whatever, that show really the $5 million within the puppet. But, I mean, you really see it. I mean, the whole world is falling in love with it just with every little screenshot.
I love that they kept it secret. It was so nice to have an actual surprise and such an amazing, huge surprise.
Right.
That's not easy to do these days.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is, a Major League, Screen Actors Guild, a level of production, and I mean, everyone's professional, and as excited as Chris and I were, the same thing until episode 1 dropped. The worst thing you could ever do is give a leak in any way, shape, or form, just out of the respect to all the Star Wars fans. It would just be awful, So, and again, I mean, just out of your respect for John and Dave, and to everything that the entire production has worked on. You would never want to do something like that. So I think that's the reason why. And I think it just comes from the top in terms of the utmost respect for everyone involved.
Yeah, one of our members just wrote Emily Swallow Rocks. She was fantastic as the Emperor.
Yeah, and how cool that the sort of like the creed, the spiritual leader of this group is this strong female who she is so reserved. Like she reserves her strength until when we finally see it in her big moment where she fights off the stormtroopers. That was such a cool surprise.
Yeah,
I think that's something cool about Star Wars, where you withhold, there's so much mystery about these different characters until they have this explosion of a scene like she has. I love that.
I love the flashbacks.
Rhode Island as well.
What, Don?
I believe Emily and Carl are coming to Rhode Island as well in November if it's a go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, and Omar as well, I think.
Yeah.
Dr. Parachute.
Steve Perry, who runs that show, is one of the biggest Star Wars fans out there, and he'll get every one of you if he could.
Yeah, we were supposed to be in Colorado Springs in August, and unfortunately, that's been postponed. All of us, Chris and I too. But it's all good as long as everyone's safe. But hopefully, God willing, we'll get out of this soon.
So I love the flashback scenes, especially going into Clone Wars of the Siege of Mandalore that you're seeing Mando have. If you're a fan of the canon, it's pretty awesome to see it in live action. Yeah,
that's the first realization we have that this guy has some tragic background. That he carries some pain with him as a character, and it just adds to the mystery of like, wow, I want to know more about this guy. Look at this scene; it's beautiful.
We get asked often, where'd you like to see the Star Wars series go? And I think Chris touches on a really good point in regards to it's not necessarily the era that they play; it's really just the substance of the characters that we care about. And I think Dave, I think do an amazing job with that, and they have. But I think that's really ultimately what it's about, as opposed to, again, wanting to see the old Republic or, 1,000 years in the future. It's really just about that texture And I think they even with Rogue One, I think they nailed it on the head as well.
The show that you're in, it feels, looks, sounds, even though it's nothing we've seen before, it has all the components that you want, that I want in Star Wars. I should speak for everybody because we all have different things that we enjoy. But for me, this had everything that felt like Star Wars.
Yeah. They're definitely one of us. I mean, like I said, you can picture yourself playing with them in elementary school, and going back to our era. So I think it's in amazing hands. And now, obviously, with Deborah, with Kenobi, it's an amazing team there for all the fans there.
Now, this is Lateef, the stunt double. And I love his approach to fighting, that it's so brutal. And he's so, I really love that John and Dave, had this kind of moments for this fighting. I mean, Ryan Watson, who's the stunt coordinator, his approach, and if you talk to him, I let him tell that story, but just his approach was almost samurai mixed with Western fighting, and I just feel like it has such a brutal kind of what I wanted as I guess as an adult to see in Star Wars.
Did Brian have some on screen time? Did he play a couple characters too?
Who's that?
Brian.
Yeah, he was in the very first scene in the bar. He was the guy in the knit cap and the goatee.
Okay.
Yeah.
And speaking of Krill, who's on screen right now, voiced by the infamous Nick Nolte, but Misty Rosa is going to be a guest at Rhode Island Comic-Con as well.
Oh, good. She's awesome. And she did an amazing job in this character. She had so much that she had to work through in her performance.
Got to get the fans to get those posters for that Rhode Island Comic-Con for sure.
Misty, oh yeah, man, well, you'll talk to her. I don't want to tell any of her stories. She has so much fun stuff to talk about.
But going into like the whole Brendan Lateef thing, I mean, it's so fitting and flashbacky to like Bob Anderson and David Prowse, who were body doubles for Vader.
Right.
A lot of respect to Pedro for the gallery for giving them the credit due, just because, they were there majority of the time, and that's great. A lot of times actors, especially the A-listers, they'll try to pass the credit on themselves, but Mando wouldn't be Mando without those two there, without question.
That's right. And they kept that secret for a long time too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I figured when they had that one of those first press shots with all the 501st troopers, I think they showed this at Celebration, and then they had Mando when he had the helmet on. I figured that there was probably a reason why the helmet was on.
Yeah. Also, Mando doesn't take his helmet off, but yeah, that's also why.
But it's very interesting, later on when we find out the whole storyline of why the Mandalorians don't take their helmet off, but also knowing, for example, if you watch Clone Wars or Rebels, when you look at like Bo-Katan or Sabine Wren, they take their helmets off. So it's very interesting, to hear the actual storyline behind that.
Right. In that it's a creed. You have just like you could say any religion. There's some people who are more devout and some who are more casual. Maybe that's some explanation. I don't have any idea what the explanation is from the why.
But it also brings in the whole, one of the debates, not that there are many debates in Star Wars because no one debates Star Wars. But the fact is, questioning whether or not Jango was initially actual Mandalorian or brought into the Creed, or any backstory to that, because we know that Boba was a clone, but how far in was Jango?
Yeah. I'm on season 4 of the Clones now because there is so much depth. As a matter of fact, the first day I was there, George was talking with John in regards to the history of the Mandalorians. And it's just something I haven't explored. I'm more of an OG guy where it's the 1 through 9. But yeah, I definitely want to get into that as well as Rebels now, because yeah, it's tremendous amount of depth to the cultures and the creeds, et cetera, et cetera. And not to mention, of course, the side characters, and yeah.
It gets better and better as it goes. And then even the last arc part of it ties directly to the show and the creed. And this is the way. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
You know that these guys are in the Endor. What was it? The Battle for Endor. Those blurts came from the Ewok TV shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Movies.
So for 40 some odd years, the Star Wars fandom had obviously within two movies, catchphrases. One obviously being "May the Force be with you," and second being "I love you, I know." It's just incredible in one episode of Mandalorian that "This is the way" and "I have spoken" have like transcended to being every Star Wars fan says that on the regular, just like the ones they've been saying for the last 40 years.
Right.
I think it's a perfect compliment to the Mandalorian mercs. I mean, you know, I've had the pleasure of meeting so many of them over the last few months, and they just take so much pride in their armor and just being Star Wars fans. So I think it's just the perfect phrase for them there.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, you really get to see how the fans can, what would you say, be part of the development of a story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, the Mandalorian mercs, they built out this whole incredible group of variety and inclusion and diversity of just from their designs. And you know, it's cool that I think that fans have a real impact on the stories that are told, and also, you know, some of the characters.
And it's so awesome seeing an IG unit actually do something other than stand in one spot.
Right.
And Taika was so fantastic with his voice. I mean, I loved, you know, when he played Korg in Ragnarok, but he was just so diverse as far as, you know, his involvement and how he gets, you know, his whole process. Just to have his own, you know, it's, you know, everybody knows the image of the IG, but having his own is pretty awesome. Now, we had a question actually from John Nortman, who's one of our members. First to Chris, what is your favorite line in the entire Star Wars franchise?
Wow, my favorite line in the entire let's see, I guess it would have to be I need to think about that one. Let me think about that one.
You? Okay, how about you, Dom?
I'm Italian, so it goes back to romanticism, and the connection between Solo and Leia was second to none. I love you, I know.
Yeah, Han was a pimp.
He was. One of a kind movie star.
I love, for me, I love the explanation of Obi-Wan to Luke about the Jedi in his hut there. And you know, also when he says to Luke, let's see, when Luke says, you know, I can only take you as far as Anchor and whatever, and Obi-Wan says, "You must do what you feel is right, of course." You know, like it's almost like he was doing a little Jedi mind trick on Luke, but like I've done that to my kids, you know. I don't have the Force, but you know, I'll say, you know, well, yeah, you need to do whatever is the right thing. That's what you need to do, and you know, they can feel that. And anyway, I just love the whole. Alec Guinness was so amazing in his explanation of the Force, of his father, that I just love that scene and his words about that.
He gives one look in that scene that you're talking about that just makes the Clone Wars possible, where you can just tell that he's not telling the whole story. Obviously, probably not. I don't know what the direction would have been at that time, but that for me makes the Clone Wars and all of that backstory. It sells it. It's like you want to know. Then we obviously, the people, we in the cartoon, we did get those stories, but just that one look in Guinness's eye.
Yes. How did my
Sets
father die?
Sets the entire tone. I always
Yeah.
say, if it weren't for Jason's mother from Friday the 13th, oh God, forgive me, I forget her name, but from the ending of Friday the 13th, who set the entire tone of that series, but she added more conviction and energy than that entire, 9-part, 10-part series combined, just with her passionate performance. Betsy Palmer, I believe her name is. And it probably, the same you could say for Alec Guinness there, without question.
I love the shootout, and I love the way he moves. It's, we knew he wasn't just, that he had, just from Empire, you knew he could do so much, but to see this was more than I ever dreamed.
Right. Again, to think of John Wayne's grandson, I mean, like in the Western of the future, that is so cool.
Yeah.
This is definitely a spaghetti Western.
Yeah.
And it's like the Gatling gun from the samurai movies. I didn't watch a ton of westerns, but I remember just some of the samurai movies with these old Gatling guns that you would spin. And
Yep.
Oof.
I love the touch of Star Wars comedy here with IG-11, where he's saying, I must self-destruct. And he's like, no, just stop it. Like, I love that.
the heat of the battle. No, and it worked so well.
I know. Here we go. That iconic silhouette of the Mando in the doorway. So cool.
Which was the first poster that they gave away at Celebration last year.
That's right.
Did you hear Kathleen Kennedy talk about the importance of silhouettes in Star Wars in one of the gallery episodes?
So I said
Kathleen Kennedy talks about the importance of silhouette characters having their own unique silhouette in Star Wars. So it was great to hear her talk about that.
Yeah, there's every story has to have a silhouette, even if there's no pictures. The silhouette, there's the heavy, there's the young hero, there's the aged, wise man.
Oh, there it is. So,
Chris, I think it was only 3 stages, right? If I'm correct.
What's that? The three
sound stages, more or less, yeah? In terms of doing the entire production, yeah.
There was, there was the outdoor setting, and then there were...
the 2 big stages.
Yeah, 2 big stages, but there was a couple of different, sets on each stage.
Yeah.
Razor Crest cockpit being on the same stage as the volume.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
Different areas.
We're done with the first episode.
So Chris, what was your reaction when you first found out about what the child was?
I found out what the child was on my very first day fitting for Zero, because I saw the child and the puppet, and they told me, this is basically what the whole point of the whole series is, or this season, is that Mandalorian, is protecting the child. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope this doesn't get out. I hope this gets to stay secret. And I'm so glad it did. It's so odd to me that all the crazy rumors that are coming out so far ahead of season 2, we'll see which ones are true and which aren't. But seeing the child for the first time, Dominic and I both have worked with him. He is so real in person that it makes pretending as an actor so easy, because he blinks, his eyes move, his mouth moves, his ears move and his head turns. I mean, it's all very real. And I love that John and Dave committed to the practical in this series.
And Dom, you said you found out as a text later on?
That's correct. Yeah, I mean they kept it. There was quite a bit of people during the standoff in Navarro, so they actually kept it secret. And then it wasn't present in the Cantina, so it was just to the eyes that needed to see it, and for good reason. Again, so yeah, I got a text. I didn't end up seeing episode 1 until the next day, and I got a text and said, "What did you think of that?" And it's funny because the time frame that it took place, I was starting to try to do the math in terms of reincarnation of Yoda. Is it Yoda?
Right.
But yeah, I had just had all those questions. I remember at the end of episode 1, and now again, it's just sort of turned to this amazing chemistry. And how does that happen? Where you have this actor who, I mean, you don't even see their eyes, but it's kind of has this amazing father-son connection, better than half the movies you see.
Absolutely. So we just finished up episode 1. We're going to take a little bit of a Q&A and rest for about 10-15 minutes before we start the first episode of Gallery. But before we do some more Q&A, let's do another contest. Remember, it's the first person to answer the question will win the second figure prize pack. And I will message you later on to get your information and information for shipping. But second question tonight is actually related to the first episode. And the question is actually coming from John.
Yeah, if you guys are paying attention, it was actually said during this episode. I might get the character's name wrong, but who's the actor that plays Mithril, the blue character in the beginning? Pay attention, we said it.
Several times, actually. I was actually looking directly at John in the camera.
You put a waffle in his ass in Road Trip, if that helps.
That is true. I forgot he was in that.
Oh, that was such a great
scene. Ashley, congratulations. Ashley with the answer. For those who don't know, Ashley also does a lot of the artwork for the Topps card series with Star Wars. So it's nice to have another member of the family here. So congratulations, Ashley. So we have a couple of questions that were coming out during. I'm going to start with Dom on this. This is a question from John. What was the main difference or what you liked out of the two directors that you worked with in Mandalorian?
Oh man, I mean, again, I gotta humble myself on this. I was second team, so ultimately, I can't really differentiate. It was just a level of respect that you can feel from the bottom to the top in terms of the respect that you had for these directors. I mean, just the demeanor, the way that they carried themselves every single day. It was just one of those things that what I've been saying is if they ran a Navy ship and they said jump, he would just say how high. But it really just John, Dave, and Deborah, if you were to just line them up. Just such just incredible demeanor and just amazing leaders, but in the most respectful way. I've worked with countless directors over my years, but ultimately it's just level of professionalism to the nth degree, and that's why they're in the big leagues and where they are.
Awesome. And Chris, same question to you. What did you like about the directors that you worked with on Mandalorian?
I worked with all of them except for Bryce Dallas Howard. So Dave Filoni, John Favreau, Rick Famuyiwa, Deb Chow, and Rick is very collaborative. Like he's very open to ideas, and then Deborah Chow was very specific. Like she would say to me, "All right, Chris, give me 0 energy." And I was like. Okay, no, but she was like, give me that 0 energy. I want him to feel like a machine, like he is, but she was just so cool. She comes from Marvel TV, and then Dave Filoni, like he is in every interview. He's just totally laid back, but has this incredible knowledge of backstory of Star Wars, working with George, learning from George, and he was very specific as well. Like he wanted us to do certain things, but this is his first live action, directors in the roles of director. So he was open to stuff too. Jon Favreau was kind of the, as executive director, I guess, he really was also kind of, if George was Dave's mentor in filmmaking, Jon was Dave's mentor in live action. And that you could see that relationship. It was like big brother, little brother. It was so cool to see to work with them. Jon, is very approachable as well. And they're just all so nice. They were so kind to work with, but had so many ideas, and really wanted to work with you as well.
Chris, you mentioned earlier when Jon Favreau told you what a director wants from an actor. When he said to come with ideas, is that something that is common, you would say, for directors? I guess I've just, I've only heard what I've read on, in certain interviews and things, but it surprised me to hear that a little bit, that to come with ideas. Was that something you've been familiar with?
If the director is open to it, you want to relieve some of the burden that the director has. So, like an example, the Kubaz, the ferryman at the beginning of this, I had a script, but it was all in English. And so I didn't know what he would sound like, but I wanted to bring some idea of what that would sound like. So I did this kind of like slow, like old Russian kind of car salesman guy. And so, I said, when he asked for a speeder, and he doesn't like it because Mando doesn't like it because it has a droid on it. And I said, "Oh, I assure you, this speeder is brand new." That's how I was doing it on set. And so Jon was like, "Oh, that's good. Let's just cartoon it down a little bit." So I just slowed it down and didn't do it so crazy. And then that sparked a conversation where Dave was like, "Maybe we should do an alien voice." And I was like, I personally feel like it should be the same language as the one from A New Hope. They were already on that track as well. So I just, you bring an idea and it gives them some things to work with. So they don't have to tell you like, "Hey, can you talk a little more like this, or can you act a little more like this?" You want to unburden the director as much as possible. But sometimes you'll have a director who's super specific, has a vision, and that's what you're going to do. You just don't want to come empty-handed, is what I'm saying.
I think that's great. Thank you.
So this is a question for Dom. With Gecko, especially with all the marketing that I know you have especially been doing with the character, is it your hope that Gecko is thought of almost like Hammerhead or Lobot of, just part of the canon, that you're one of those characters you're just like, you just see and and you love as much as the other?
Without question. Again, I wish I could tell you I ran with the circles of William Morris and UTA and CAA, but it's just a respectful pitch to Jon and Dave, and not to mention, bonding with the Star Wars fans, being a fan myself. And of course, I think just like any actor, and even Chris's character, to where you want to see, it expand in one way or another. Deborah's heading up Kenobi. Kenobi takes place before the Mandalorian series. But, look, I've been a gamer for 20 years, and for me, it's just in terms of being a go-getter, but not to mention just, again, our celebration of those Hammerheads and those Walrus fans, that maybe 3, 4, or 5 years from now, and hopefully with the blessing of Marvel Comics, Star Wars Bounty Hunters, you will be seeing hopefully more canon with him. But at the end of the day, you just also have to be grateful for what you received as well. I know that so many Star Wars fans out there would just be thankful for even just one opportunity. So no matter what happens, it's just my gratitude to Jon and Dave. And again, we hope that we see a little bit more Gecko in the future. Personally, voice-wise, I'd love to see sort of a darker Huttese. He has very thick gauntlets. I think there's some special things that those gauntlets can do, not to mention the biggest blaster I picked. So I think there's a lot you can do with a bounty hunter splinter cell, with Gecko being 6'4", 260 pounds. But again, hopefully this campaign will open some eyes over at Disney, and it's my hope we'll be back soon.
We have examples in Star Wars, in fandom, of actors who have, a part similar to yours, that they've made it something bigger. And what comes to mind after seeing what you've been doing is Sean Crawford in his Yak Face. He has taken that to, it's a very special kind of niche in our fandom that he's made that happen. And I kind of, you remind me of what he's done with that.
Well, I mean, that's the ironic thing with the Star Wars universe. In 1985, you have 17 figures of a Monomon, Barada, Yak Face, which is $400. So it's kind of this rarity. But yeah, I have a couple of friends over at Disney that, allowed me to email Lucasfilm, and I said, hey, look at all this amazing artwork that they're doing. Respectfully, I've been a professional actor for X amount of years, and obviously would be grateful to have the character continue on. But again, at the end of the day, you just have to hope. And if anything, it's just been an amazing year to have had the opportunity to have met so many amazing fans and to share our love of Star Wars all together.
Awesome. So we're going to get ready to watch gallery. So we're going to take a couple more questions for the next 5 minutes. So, and then I will do a 15-second countdown. So if you guys want to start getting gallery ready for episode 1. But also, before we get to first episode gallery, I want to, first and foremost, again, thank both Dom and Chris for joining us. And I know that Dom's going to be back in episode 3, and Chris is going to be back for episode 6. But guys, thank you very much for taking the time to, tell us some stories and, watch the episode with us. We greatly appreciate that.
So much fun. Thank you so much for having us. And I look forward to doing it again.
Awesome. So here's the first question I'm going to ask both you guys. First to Dom, what was it like watching the first episode with Star Wars fans?
You mean of The Mandalorian?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm so sorry. I just meant, you said, it was really something, because normally, my kids, I do mostly crime dramas, and it's, tough guy number 3 or the criminal or, whatever. And this, to me, again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, just coming back to childhood, I had this just amazing embrace with my 2 sons, and it was just the most amazing feeling, even if it was just episode 1 and Deborah didn't pick me for episode 3, just to be immortalized even in that way within the Cantina. I can't say anything other than it was just beyond words, just because, again, I'm sure Chris will agree. We've been on television multiple times on a gazillion different shows, but this in and of itself was extremely special.
Chris, what about you? What's the experience like watching Mandalorian with Star Wars fans?
Exactly how you would imagine. You get to do it, and you only see the scenes that you've done. And so, we didn't see all the other stuff that was shot. But, being at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood, again, I just, my brain and my heart went back to 1977 and flashed forward to, it's like your whole life. But seeing it on the screen, I was there with my wife, and it was really, really special, because, it is the thing that, like I said, turned my imagination as a child and as an adult too. I'm an adult child also. Anyway, but being in the theater there and seeing it, just like Dominic, and seeing other people that we had scenes with, beyond imagination, and so many people who are so talented who worked on this show, and being able to see it on the big screen with so many fans who, just like us, have are excited by more Star Wars. It's amazing.
I think we speak for a lot of Gen Xers to where, you become an actor, and don't get me wrong, these modern day crime dramas are amazing, and independent film, etc. But I think the whole reason we came here, at least from the Generation X, is because of George Lucas, Spielberg, Robert Zemeckis, Richard Donner. the magic and the energy where they have been sort of next level in terms of Hollywood. And I think that's what we all want is, you know, at least actors getting up there in our 30s and 40s, et cetera. So that's really why it was very special for me, because this was the first production that I got to live that out.
Totally. Wow.
Spencer, do we have time for John's question to Chris?
Yeah, actually, I was actually thinking that would be a great idea. So why don't you ask that, Frank?
Chris, we have John from California asks if Anthony Daniels had given you any tips or advice on or feedback on playing C-3PO.
Yeah, we've worked together multiple times. Most of the time he records the voice and I do the body. And this is, again, for TV stuff. He does all the movies. And how cool that we can still see him in the movies and hear his golden voice and everything. But so I met him as a fan. The first time I put on the costume, we were just doing it as a fan. Like it was at a museum opening, a Star Wars museum opening, and he gave me some instruction. Like, you know, he says, "So let's hear the voice." And like in that moment, you're like, it's like Elvis asking this lame Elvis impersonator to do the voice, you know, and I got all nervous and everything. And I said, why, hello, I am C-3PO, human cyborg relations. And this is my counterpart, R2-D2. And he goes, pretty good. But then after that, we worked together where he would do the, instruct me on the motion, the animation, how everything is isolated. The arms are disconnected from the torso, the head's disconnected from the torso. You know, everything is separate because he's a machine. And that really helped me to develop the mannerisms that are so characteristic of 3PO. Otherwise, you know, like Jon Favreau says in the gallery, says, you know, you can be, just like Dominic knows, you can be a person in a costume, but we need an actor in the costume. And that's because, you know, as a fan, I would go to conventions because I just wanted to play a character. You know, I would wear the Stormtrooper armor or the Boba Fett armor or whatever that I had built. And I just wanted to be a character. And so that is actually what turned into to acting for me is because of my work as C-3PO. They called me in to come in as Zero. And anyway, to answer your question, yes, Anthony Daniels has instructed me on a few occasions on how to do the manners as C-3PO, as well as the voice. And so it's really, really what a blessing to be able to work with the original, you know, from 1977. Again, I mean, he's the first one you see on screen. Maybe R2 is the first one you see, but anyway, yeah, it was really great to work with him.
Yeah. What a dream to start out as a fan and I mean, anytime you can turn something that you love and enjoy into a profession or a career, that's great. But yours is just that much more special when it's into style.
Well, I think Dom and I probably both have a similar. We both wanted to perform, and then we were able to turn it into an actual job. So, yeah.
I think it's one of the joys too, and obviously Chris does it so well, but it's that transformation. I've been joking around that Gecko wouldn't like me very much. I'm a nice guy, mama's boy from New York. But the great thing is just to be able to have that transformation. And I know when Chris puts that armor on, it ends up transforming you almost like Venom, you know, to a certain extent, to where all of a sudden, you know, your own soul kind of goes behind and you take place. I mean, your character sort of takes the place there. So it's always a lot of fun, especially when it's sort of polarized from the personality that you are, you know?
Especially when it's a bad guy. There's so much more interesting. Right?
All the time. I screw up my audition sometimes, you know, because they say hi, you know, they want to know how you're doing, casting or whatever, but I always have to just try to stay silent because, you know, I'm always playing the heavy or the tough guy, especially even the Gecko, et cetera. But yeah, it's great to make that transformation. I know, Chris has had the same experience there.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Fantastic story. So what we do the countdown. Hopefully you guys will be able to stay on with us for a gallery. But if you have to jump off, so first and foremost, I want to once again thank both Chris and Dominic for joining us. And God willing, we have Forced Cello this year. They will both be judges for Aldron Idol this year. So we're very excited
Super
to have you
excited
guys as
about
part of that.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. I have to jump off. Dominic, it was great to see you again, and
You too, Chris.
we'll see you again on the next one.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome, Chris. Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you so much.
Yeah, gentlemen, I'm going to bounce just to be with the boys there. But thank you so much for the opportunity. And again, hello to all the fans, and love you all there. And I hope you guys enjoyed tonight.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dominic. We appreciate it.
Always. All right, guys.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, before we start gallery, I just want to say that was awesome.
That was great.
That was
Great
awesome.
guys. Right.
Yeah. Thank you once again. I know they jumped off, but thank you both Dom and Chris. And Dom will be back for episode 3, where he's involved in that major gunfight with Mando. And then Chris will be back for Space Boston. I'm going to call it that forever. Frank's going to call it. So I'm very excited about that particular episode as well. But also, this has been great, and love having these. This is week 12 for us, so keep on going. I want to give a quick shout out to everybody who joined us for the first virtual Cantina happy hour, which turned into 5 hours this past Tuesday.
We're all happy hours too.
I literally left after an hour, called Frank about half an hour, and he's like, "I'm still on." And I jumped back on for a while as well. So it was nice to do that. So please jump, on Tuesdays, we're going to start it, I believe, what was the time change again, Frank?
It's going to be 4 o'clock,
right?
4 o'clock in California, and is that 7 o'clock for us?
Yeah. So we'll have a topic, but it was very loose. We talked about everything to do with Star Wars, from Galaxy's Edge to the movies to experiences at Celebration. We did some giveaways. We're going to do some more giveaways throughout them, and a couple coming up in the future, including we started talking about future cantinas after Mandalorian is done. So if you have ideas for that, please, let us know what you're looking for. So
we
anyway,
have a giveaway on this Tuesday. We
yes.
We definitely have a giveaway thanks to John in California, John Button. So thank you for that, and we'll be doing that giveaway thanks to John on Tuesday.
Excellent. So we're going to have another giveaway, another set of figures at the end of gallery, but let's all set up for gallery. So I will start the 10-second countdown of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
I have not watched any of these for this reason alone, to watch them right now with everyone. So excited.
That's awesome.
Means I'm going to turn it real loud. Dude, I already love it.
We've been talking since the cartoons, with Dave Filoni's vision, to see him finally do live action. We knew how great it was going to be.
I love that they said how calm he was, and he wasn't like, I'd be freaking out. I'd be all over the place. So I love that he was like, had confidence and like, all right, we're doing this right.
Well, the same story about George. They would ask him a question and he'd be like, yeah. just very sullen. Didn't get very much. Didn't get excited. I'm sorry. When I look at Jon Favreau, I still think of him as Gutter from PCU.
Oh
It's,
yeah.
it's hard to see him as anything else, even though he's done so much else there. But the fact that he played a stoner at one time is pretty funny. I'm so happy that John's going to be directing in season 2.
Have they announced who's directing how many episodes and everything, or no?
They did
Yeah.
not. But
Yeah,
they just announced.
I think the directors have been announced.
The director's been announced, but not the number. I don't think of how many each person's going to.
Well, they can hold on.
But it's going to be very interesting when Robert Rodriguez does one. That's not bloody, and we don't see Machete on there. I'll be disappointed.
I do like what Chris was saying, though. When you see the Mandalorian in a fist fight, hand-to-hand combat, it's very brutal and very strong and meaningful every strike. So it's not like he's flaring around. I really caught that and enjoyed that.
When we saw that scene of the heads on the stormtrooper helmets on the pikes, just
So yeah, there's 6 directors for season 2. So somebody's doing, it could
someone's
be,
doing at least 2.
yeah.
8 episodes?
Mm-hmm.
Carl Weathers, I forgot about that. He's directed one.
Yep.
That's cool.
Did you know that Dave Filoni's first gig was on that show?
I did not know it. I love it.
I knew the other one, like that one I had no idea. I knew Avatar, but I didn't know about King of the Hill.
I love the fact that he's wearing a Celebration T-shirt.
Yeah, I caught that too. When it sold out, I wanted to get so bad, but when I finally got in there, it sold out.
You mean when you didn't have me run in there and grab you and Alan mall jackets?
Yeah.
Taika's not directing season 2, but he has the whole Star Wars movie to direct, so I guess that's okay.
Sharing the love.
Right.
Well, and Deborah's doing, as they mentioned, is doing Kenobi.
Yep.
So that's gonna be great.
I really think what this table, these people you're looking at, this is going to be the driving force for Star Wars going into the future. I really believe this.
Well, John's gonna hear the story soon, but with Bryce Dallas Howard, she literally grew up with George Lucas, with her father being in an American Graffiti, and just her, her life being influenced by George. So like firsthand. So it's very yeah. I mean, it's a family affair. I mean, having her come in and after her father, went in and directed, the second half of Solo. And here's some interesting trivia. He was actually offered one of the prequels and he said no. Now, what else has Rick done besides this? Because I wasn't a huge follower of his before.
I'm not sure. Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a a great story. It was really great having Dom and Chris with us. And Dom's in the group right now, still answering questions.
That's awesome.
It's great that they gave us their time tonight and hung out. And it just felt like talking to more Star Wars fans. They're helping to bring Star Wars to life.
And I just want to say, it's like, we've been doing this for 12 weeks, and I've loved every week, but from Kevin to Chris and Dom, these have been some of my favorite weeks, just hearing the story that's behind the films and the episodes. I still want to know what Chris took from the set, though.
It's kind of cool. He's like, yeah, I took it.
There's something that's.
I just realized, just watching this, the director's circle of, it's very hard to see an actor or a director not be tied to multiple franchises anymore. I mean, George, you knew he was Star Wars. When Nimoy directed, he just did Star Trek. I mean, Jonathan Frakes does other stuff. He's done Orville and some other things. But you got Bryce, who's in Jurassic World. You got Jon Favreau, who did the Marvel stuff. It's just, and Taika, who's now in the Star Wars universe, and he's done. He did Ragnarok, and played Korg in one of the Avengers movies. So it's just funny how you're not known for one thing anymore. You're a part of everything.
Dave
Chantal, thank you for the story. Chantal, thank you for the information about Rick. I appreciate that. I didn't know he did the wood.
Oh, he's on set. That's so cool.
That was one of my favorite pictures when they released it on George's birthday. Seeing the three of them together.
That's so cool. Be a lot of pressure. Like, George is right over my shoulder, and I'm directing this right now.
Yeah, right.
Like, is this okay? Is this okay? Can I do this?
I love Gina in Deadpool as well.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I love seeing Gina in the gallery in these episodes. Just every time she's on, she's talking about her experiences. It's fantastic.
And she was one of those actors who actually did her own stunts because she had her background from UFC.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to watch that first episode again after we finish tonight. because
Yeah.
I just need to see it again. I need to crank up the volume. I'm so psyched
Yeah.
that we started The Mandalorian. I've been wanting this as much as I loved every week with the movies. I am so psyched that we're into Mandalorian now, and not just
I can't believe we're into Mandalorian now. So, Frank, are you going to be posting up the information for Dom's website and autograph for Dom for tomorrow on the page?
Yes. Yeah, we'll have
Awesome.
that up tomorrow. And Chris is
And
doing his own thing?
Yeah, Chris is going to be posting up soon information on his Instagram for a signing, which we will get some information to you and to put up on the Star Wars Autograph news page.
Fantastic. That's great. That's the whole thing with autograph collecting. The more like opportunities like this that we just had when we talked with Kevin, the more you hear them talk and about their experiences, the more you want their autograph. And as long as I've been collecting, right now I am so amped to get Chris and Dom's autograph. There's like so much more because of tonight.
Yeah.
I feel fortunate that when they were filming Mandalorian, Pedro was actually doing King Lear in New York at the time. So that's when Brendan and Latif were doing the live action for that. And a good friend of mine, who the same guy who got me the Ron Howard that I showed my solo autograph the other night at the happy hour, got me Pedro on the first picture of The Mandalorian before the show even came out. The point where when I brought it to Celebration to get authenticated by Beckett, they were actually taken back because no one had seen a Pedro at that time, because he was literally just announced for be playing the character. So I love the fact that I was able to get him, before the show even came out.
Yeah.
He signed for a lot. I got him as well for that play, and it was so great that he was signing. He was signing a lot, which is.
Mm-hmm.
I just put in my my Pedro in the group. My link to Pedro. Let's see.
Let me grab my book. I'll pull it out.
There it is. Yeah, so I just put in a link to Pedro on my website.
Right. Yeah, it's come to a point right now that I've gotten. I had to put a whole book just for Star Wars and organize it by movies and shows. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's awesome at the same time.
Ridiculous is when you have multiple books for each movie.
Yes, I want to see Graham's collection.
Graham has over 10,000 autographs.
So here is the Pedro that was one of the first ones I got. That was actually the first one, and he actually wrote The Mandalorian on it.
That's cool.
So pretty psyched about that one. That's one of my favorites.
So I don't know how many people that are watching right now were in that panel in Chicago for The Mandalorian, but I think one of my favorite celebration moments is when he talked about getting that part.
Mm-hmm.
And how he was in the room and he's looking around and sees all the different characters and thinks he's going to be wearing a mask. And he asked, who am I going to be playing? And they looked at him kind of funny and said, "You're the Mandalorian." And just the way he says that, the way he recounts that story, gave me chills. Can you imagine?
He didn't even know?
He's like, who am I going to play? Like, you're the Mandalorian. Oh, man.
One of my favorites things with Pedro besides that was when they did the figure release on StarWars.com, and they showed Pedro and Gina their characters for the first time in figure form, and just the look on their face of like pure excitement and joy that they're finally a Star Wars figure.
I still, no matter how many actors I've met, I still like, even when I'm talking to like John Morton on the phone, like, I used to play with your figures when I was a kid. So part of me just like goes right there.
Hey, Space Boston.
Space Boston.
I think the toughest person in that scene is going to be Clancy Brown again.
Yeah.
Because Natalia's on the scene. You can get Burr at his shows. Obviously, you can get Chris. But I was psyched when I saw, because you knew from the beginning that Natalia was going to be in it. But Clancy Brown, I mean, I was a fan of his going back to Star Troopers.
That guy that you showed does from, I think it was in Sons of Anarchy.
Yep, Mark Boone Jr.
Thank you. He's on the circuit.
Yep.
Well, there is no circuit right now, but
yeah,
when it comes back.
Circuit. And we just saw a clip of a future movie, or a future episode, but a nice cameo from Matt Lanter.
Yeah, that was great. I had a hard time with him dying. He's such a nice guy.
He was very nice. Actually, I had to bust his balls a little bit about being pitch perfect. What was that?
Clancy Brown was in Shawshank.
Yes, he was. He was the main.
Now I can see his face. I totally forgot all about it.
But yeah, I was busting on Matt Lanter at Celebration about being pitch perfect, and he thought that was awesome that someone was willing to do that to him.
I loved him in Timeless. I was disappointed when I canceled that. I watched that show because of him, but then I really enjoyed it. Julia Jones, another Boston connection to Star Wars.
Yep. If you watched, they did a Star Wars trivia with the cast members of Clone Wars after the final episode. Sam Witwer and Matt Lanter knew the most about the lore of Star Wars than anybody else in the cast.
Giovanni, I've never watched Sons of Anarchy.
And it's so good.
It goes back to years ago. A girl I dated told me a story about something that happened in a motorcycle gang that she knew about, and it takes just in my career, the work I do, I see a lot, I hear a lot of bad things, but this was so bad that I can't watch Sons of Anarchy because I can't see anything remotely like what she told me. So I won't watch it. It was traumatizing what she told me. I didn't even see it. She saw it.
And the sequel Mayans is so good as well. Yeah, Danny, we're gonna do more trivia at the end of this episode. I'm gonna step away for 1 second.
One more question?
Yeah, one more tonight.
I loved what Chris said earlier, how they were shooting different episodes on same days, and you have both directors there at the same time. That just blows my mind how that works. You feel like you're stepping on each other's toes and stuff. That's you have to be a cohesive unit for that.
It makes sense because when you watch this behind the scenes, you see a couple shots where you have more than one director. Not Dave and John Favreau, but you have more than one other directors on. That makes sense. And that's why I think that's why Dom got into 2 episodes, because they filmed both in one day.
That just can't happen often in TV and film and stuff. It seems so complicated and amazing that they were able to pull it off.
Yeah. That beer I had tonight was really good. It's the first beer I had from the brewery.
What did I have today? I had a Sapporo.
So, John, what do you think of this so far?
It's good. A little distracting at the same time, so I'm gonna have to watch it again later.
As you should, because this is the way.
This is the way.
Bryce's episode had so much heart to it.
And I love that, the very ending. I love Gina,
Yeah.
how she takes care of business, has his back. Is it time for season 2 yet? I'm ready. I'm ready now.
It feels like it's almost October.
Not that far from now.
I know.
Right about the time I get my Sideshow collectible, the life-size Baby Yoda.
I'll be getting mine in December.
I think I have 2 more payments left.
That's awesome.
No, August. I'm done in August. When does it ship, John?
Between August and December.
Yeah.
That's a big window.
Yep.
I ordered the Mando right after that, too, but that won't be out till, 2021.
The Mando and the Child?
Yeah.
I'm big on collecting the concept art right now.
Mm-hmm. I think a number of our members are with that, with the concept art.
What's that?
A number of our members are collecting concept art.
Has got 2 prints from Dark Ink the other day. One from Brian Matthias and Doug Chang. Now I got to get them signed, but they're beautiful, beautiful art.
So I lucked out last week. I got one of the Build-A-Bears children. So I'm excited about that.
Was it?
I was in a virtual queue. I was in a virtual queue longer for that than I was for Celebration tickets.
So right there, they're talking about what we do in the shadows. You guys know Mark Hamill's going to cameo on that for their season 2.
I heard about that, but I've never seen it.
It's hilarious. It's vulgar, but it's hilarious. Not for kids.
Well, sort of like that figure that someone posted on our page of Cock Knocker.
Yeah. Come on. Is he trading it?
To me, that was awesome.
You know, it's one thing. You know, when Mark Hamill's autograph was like $125, and that's one thing. But there's so many I would love to get, but that's not financially a reality. Oh, has it already come out, John? His cameo?
Excuse me?
Has Mark Hamill's cameo on that show already come
I
out?
haven't caught up to the show. Is it out already? So I'm see it?
Somebody just said it was really good.
It must be out. I know it was
How
on.
could it not be good? It's Mark Hamill. Oh no, Wing Commander. Sorry. Everybody has one.
He's Jim the Vampire? Is that his name, Jim the Vampire?
It's
Now I want to watch it.
vampires in today's society trying to be regular humans. It's not be regular humans, but just to today's society. It's learning to drive and stuff like that.
Now I need to watch it.
John, I'm still laughing about that meme about your package of ship that you sent me the other day,
That was good.
and then my Boba Fett helmet shows up like a couple minutes later. Oh, Dark Saber.
I just got that notification from something from GameStop. I'm not really sure what it is. I know it's Black Series something, but I don't know what it is. I'm going to enjoy getting it. I always pre-order them through GameStop, so I like.
Did you pre-order the Revan Saber?
The Revan, yeah. I did not pre-order the latest Black Series because it was just so much and overwhelming. Because I went and filled up my cart, it was like $200. I was like, I gotta back off.
I still had to sell a lot of my Black Series. I sold a bunch to my local comic shop.
Well, now's probably a decent time to sell them before all these new box art comes out with the same figures.
Right.
I want to give it up to one of our members, Justin Nunez, who actually had a Dark Saber, not only a Dark Saber made, but he actually got it signed by Giancarlo already, and it was the first one that Giancarlo had seen, and actually wrote first signed Dark Saber on the hilt.
That's gonna make the value go up quite a bit.
Yeah, his Justin's collection is fantastic. He has a helmet already signed by most of the cast already. I'm waiting for the Black Series of that helmet, and it better be chrome.
The magic hand thing.
I feel like they're dragging their legs with the Black Series helmet. They could be pumping them out real quick, but
the FX one is already starting to ship.
The FX
it's like
one?
Yeah, it's like $365.
I'm fine with the Black Series for $100.
John, Chicago was the first celebration since C6 that I didn't bump into Dave Filoni.
I purposely had a chopper box in my bag the entire week of celebration because I knew that, knowing my luck, I wouldn't bring it and I'd run into him and I'd be like, son of a bitch. I didn't see him.
I did that with I had a bunch ready, 8x10s, and I bumped into one of the Kenna guys at the hotel in the morning. I was able to get him during breakfast. Jim, I can't remember his last name. one of the original guys from Kenner.
That's awesome.
Yeah, celebration. You can get almost as many autographs out of autograph hall as you can in if you'll pay attention and do some prep.
Yes, Giovanni, you can pre-order the Revan lightsaber right now, and it might even be past pre-order. I know that. No, Amazon. I don't think you can pre-order anymore. But
Well, that was gallery. I know some people are gonna, like John, are gonna watch it again. But yeah, that was pretty awesome. I mean, being a director myself, seeing how the process was for these guys is pretty amazing. So I guess we'll do our last trivia for the night. Once again, the rules is that if you've already won one of the prize packs already, you are disqualified from future until we say so. And I will message you later on for your address. Thanks once again to Rich Herman for donating the figure packets. Greatly appreciate that. And once again, the figures are on us. You just cover the shipping to your home. So the third question and the final question for tonight is actually from Solo, which is one of my favorite movies. I'm glad we were talking about it earlier. My question is, what is the name of the expanded universe's bounty hunter that was killed by Tobias Beckett? What EU bounty hunter was killed by Tobias?
That might be another tough one.
No, somebody's gonna get it. There it is.
Kate, there you go. R. Singh.
Good job, Kate. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Kate. Well, a number of people knew that. Wow, that's awesome. So, Kate, I will be messaging you later on as well for your information. So, thank you very much. So, I have to say, like again, next to Kevin, wow, tonight was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait till they come back. It was awesome to have them. It was different dynamic because we had two of them than with Kevin and much shorter time. So it was a little different, but I enjoyed it a lot.
I read somebody in the message board said it was like having the VIP experience but for free. I like that.
Well, we're glad that we could provide that for you. Once again, this is our favorite, time of the week. And now we have something, twice a week. So we're glad to be doing this for you. Plus also gives me an excuse to remind Frank what day of the week it is. It was just become a running joke between us.
Very much appreciated.
Yep. So this has been absolutely fantastic. I just want to remind you guys that on Tuesday we'll be having we're still going to call it Virtual Cantina Happy Hour, which we'll probably go over again. But we're very much looking forward to that. And we will have a giveaway courtesy of our member, John Nortman. Thank you very much for that, John. So on Tuesday, we'll see you for that. And we'll have, various topics we'll talk about or just, shoot the breeze as most of us did. And just came in and out, throughout the night. So it was a lot of fun. I'll be contacting the winners after this tonight to get your information. Also give you my PayPal information for the shipping of the figures. But before we close out, John, you want to say anything?
No, I just had a blast tonight. Thanks for everyone for participating. And I think 3 girls won. That's pretty awesome.
Yes, Jen, Ashley, and Katie.
That's pretty cool.
Frank.
What you've already said. It's the connections we're making every week in the Cantina is awesome, and I had so much fun on Tuesday in the happy hour. I can't wait for next Tuesday. I'm psyched that we're watching The Mandalorian, and I love what you guys post in the group as you're watching, your thoughts, and I love reading them. It's hard to get all of them, but the insight and your love of all of it just inspires me. Thank you. Thank you for being here every week too, you guys.
Yeah, thank you very much for being part of the 12 weeks with us. Also wanted to remind you that we have only 5 2017 Max Rebo Force Cello pins available. After that, it's gone. So if you're still planning or on the fence about getting any of the Force Cello merch and you want to get the full set, you have 5 more opportunities to get the full set. There's not going to be a reprint of the 2017 Max Rebo. So if you're interested in that, go to forcecella.square.site. That's SITE. We also have 5 XXL 2019 t-shirts left. So if you're interested in that, please purchase. But thank you again. This is my favorite time of the week, Thursdays, and now Tuesday and Thursday, which would be awesome. So until then, we have spoken away, and everybody, may the force be with you.
May the force be with you guys.